From KARK4 and Fox 16, this is a special report. Here's Mitch McCoy.
And we are just moments away, less than 2 minutes away from a scheduled special session in the Arkansas legislature. The governor calling this special session for the Senate and House to talk about masks in schools and the pandemic unemployment assistance program. There is a lot to track here. There is a lot to discuss as we look live at the state capitol. I want to get straight to David Camps. He is a lawyer and he is here to help us break down some current lawsuits that are actively in place. David, good morning to you. Just a couple minutes away from this special session. Tell me, where do some of these lawsuits stand? Because people are suing the state right now over masks in schools.
That's right, Mitch. There are a couple of lawsuits that have been filed, to my knowledge, and some that may be filed shortly. The one that I'm most familiar with, having children in the Little Rock School District, is the lawsuit that the Little Rock School District has stated they intend to file, and they've provided a copy of that lawsuit. The Little Rock School District has challenged the constitutionality of this act that prohibits mandatory mask use, and they do so under a constitutional challenge that the law violates constitutional right to a free and safe education for children in Arkansas, and also violates the Equal Protection Clause, both in the Arkansas Constitution and the federal Constitution. Okay,
so we're just moments away from this. Where would this stand, I guess, on a larger platform? I mean, if these lawsuits are they're filed, but if a judge takes up that temporary restraining order blocking this law, the special session is in place. This is complex here.
It is complex, absolutely. The Little Rock School District lawsuit, for example, has taken a route where they've asked for a declaratory judgment, which is a way for a court to rule on an entity or an individual's rights under the law. And as you may be aware, the Constitution trumps other laws in Arkansas. And so if there's an act or a statute that's unconstitutional, then the separation of powers gives the courts the authority to strike down that law as unconstitutional. And that's where I think this is heading, is a circuit judge here in Pulaski County will rule on the constitutionality of this law, this mask mandate, or prohibition on mask mandates. And then in all likelihood, it would be appealed relatively quickly to the Supreme Court, who will have the final say on whether or not this mask law is constitutional.
We're looking at live pictures here, David. This is the Senate. For folks just joining us, it is now 10 a.m. We are waiting for the House and the Senate to meet here. We're closely monitoring what's happening in the House of Representatives. They have not started their special session yet. It is 10 a.m. This is the time that the governor has called for this special session to begin. As we continue to stand by and look at some of these live pictures here, let me show you exactly what's happening on the Senate side of this. You can see the doors there still closed. We are waiting for the Senate to convene. This is for folks that are specifically looking for where to go to watch coverage or to see what happens in each chamber. There is the House and the Senate. They are both meeting at the same exact time. So if you're on our website, KARK.com, if you're on our website, Fox16.com, you're watching the Senate's version of the special session. If you scroll down slightly, the House of Representatives special session will be streamed in the video player below. But if you're joining us on Facebook, the Senate, you'll watch the Senate side of this special session. David, this has been somewhat of a complex issue. There's no doubt about it. I mean, from lawsuits that have been filed to this special session that's been called. There's just so many different viewpoints here. We learned late today that the Marion School District superintendent had been called to the state capitol to meet with lawmakers. They have over 500 students and staff in quarantine. You know, what do you think could happen here today? You've been a lawyer for a long time. There's a lot of legal issues surrounding this.
Well, I am not sure if you've seen the superintendent of Little Rock School District statement about this lawsuit that they filed. And I agree with him entirely. He just doesn't have any confidence state legislature is going to handle the situation in this session, despite the governor's best attempts to push it through. I don't think anyone has a lot of confidence that's going to happen, and it's likely going to fall in the court system. But it is a confusing issue, and you know, one of the issues that the courts will take up under this equal protection claim is whether or not this law is rational. In other words, does it make any sense? Does it treat people differently for no viable reason? And I think it's pretty obvious that it does. My guess would be that the courts will find that this law is unconstitutional, regardless of what the legislature does today. What I understand is that the legislature has been asked to do one of two different things, or there are two options. One is to repeal this law entirely, which I don't think is going to happen. And two would be to carve out a specific exception for the schools. That may be the easiest route for the legislature to take, and it may resolve several of these lawsuits that are pending, all of which seem to be focused on children under 12 who are unable to be vaccinated going to school without a mandate that the people there wear masks.
So just to reset for folks who might just be joining us, David, on our website, maybe you just opened up our push alert on your phone. We are standing by. We are waiting for the special session to begin. It is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. It is now 10:04, and we are waiting for that special session to kick off. We are closely monitoring the House of Representatives. They have not started. The Senate has not started yet either. Yesterday, Governor Asa Hutchinson held his news conference, and in his news conference, we heard a lot of talk about protecting kids who are not yet eligible for the vaccine. The Senate and the House, they really have free reign over how they want to approach this law or decide not to do anything at all.
Right. I mean, the legislature is free to do whatever they want to do. I mean, the governor, obviously, separation of powers prevents the governor from doing anything unilaterally outside of what the Emergency Powers Act gives him, which the legislature rolled back in this last session. I mean, this law specifically prohibits any government, state entity from imposing these mask mandates, with the exception of the four entities that the statute lists: private businesses, UAMS, Department of Youth Services, and the prisons. So the legislature exempted those four entities for some reason. I'm not sure why they didn't apply it to other entities like the school districts, but that's kind of the basis of the lawsuits. There is no rational basis for what they did. So yeah, they can do or not do whatever they want. It'll fall in the courts, I imagine.
Well, and we all know that this is a very complex decision, and I mean, at the end of the day, we've heard from lawmakers, they are being pulled every which way. I mean, you have people calling saying, no, my kids shouldn't be forced to wear a mask in school. Then you have others who are on the opposite side who said they need to wear masks. Then you have another group of individuals that are teachers and teachers unions that everybody are calling lawmakers, and they're kind of putting their 2 cents into it, and now the House and the Senate are left to figure out how to approach this issue of not just masks in schools, but we're also talking about the federal pandemic unemployment assistance program, where the governor stopped those funds from going out. There was a lawsuit filed. A judge granted a temporary injunction, meaning that some of that federal assistance would still be getting distributed. But now The House and the Senate will be discussing this as well. I want to point out to folks, if you're just joining us, we are monitoring both the House and the Senate. I have just gotten word the House of Representatives have started. They have convened. That is now in play. The Senate has not yet started yet. We are monitoring those live pictures here right now. If you want to watch the House of Representatives, you can certainly do so. It is on our website, KARK.com. It's also on our website, Fox16.com. And the House and the Senate are both meeting separately at the same time. And you can watch the House version of the special session in that web article. It's towards the bottom of the page. You can go ahead and open up that video player and you can watch the House of Representatives. The Senate should be meeting here any moment. Once the Senate begins, you will be able to watch the Senate right here in the video player as you see here. David, the lawsuits that have been filed specifically regarding the federal pandemic unemployment assistance program, the judge said, and I'm going off memory here, the judge basically said the state has the right to end the assistance program if it chooses, but there was some questions regarding who had the authority to stop it, if memory serves, right?
I believe so. Now, I'm not as familiar with that lawsuit as I am mask lawsuit, but what you said earlier is right. There are a lot of moving pieces here, and this is democracy in action, right? You have a legislature that's actively debating a law with a lot of citizen input. The governor pushing his agenda as the executive, and the court's about to chime in based on the lawsuits that have been filed. This is a process that in normal situations could last and span years. It's happening in a week. So there's a lot of things going on right now, and I think it's extremely interesting as an attorney. I imagine though for a citizen, it's confusing. Most people just want to know what's going to happen with their kids' school in 2 weeks when school starts, and that I guess we will see by the end of the day what the legislature decides to do.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of questions surrounding how long this is going to take, and we just don't know yet. Obviously, there's a lot of talk regarding how long the Senate and the House will have to meet. Usually that's 3 days. One could assume that that's still the case here. So, at this point, it's a waiting game. While we stand by and we wait for the Senate to begin, you're looking at live pictures here from the Arkansas State Capitol. It is now 10:10. We are 10 minutes into that 10 a.m. call that the governor had regarding a special session. While we wait on that, David, let's go ahead, let's listen in now live to the House. The House has convened. We will listen into the House while we wait for the Senate to convene. And again, if you want to watch the House will be available in the video player below if you're watching us on our website or on the app. The Senate will be here, but in the meantime, let's listen in live to the House of Representatives. They have officially convened. We will listen in now live as we are in this special session here in the state of Arkansas. You're watching live coverage from KARK4 and Fox 16. Let's go ahead, listen in live as the House convenes at the Arkansas State Capitol.
Spread of COVID-19 in schools, and whereas a full economic recovery from the impact of COVID-19 requires a robust workforce, and whereas as a result of extraordinary federal unemployment benefit programs and relief programs, Arkansas employers are unable to fill thousands of job vacancies in the state, and whereas the unemployment rate in Arkansas is currently below the national unemployment rate and consistent with the historical unemployment level preceding the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, there is no longer a need within the state of Arkansas for extraordinary federal unemployment benefit programs provided under Title IX, Subtitle A, Part 1 of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Now, therefore, I, Asa Hutchinson, Governor of the state of Arkansas, by virtue of the power and authority vested in me by Article 6, Section 19 of the Arkansas Constitution, do hereby call an extraordinary session of the General Assembly to convene in Little Rock on August 4th, 2021 at 10 a.m. And I do hereby specify that the General Assembly is convened in such session to consider and is so advised and act laws for the following purposes. 1, to allow public school boards and open enrollment charter schools to implement masking protocols to protect children under the age of 12 in a school building, school bus, or other congregate educational settings during times dedicated for academic purposes. 2, to affirm the decision of the Director of Workforce Services to terminate the state of Arkansas's participation in extraordinary federal unemployment benefit programs related to COVID-19. 3, to affirm the reduction and prevention of unemployment in Arkansas takes precedence over the receipt of any federal programs related to unemployment, and the Director of Workforce Services may exercise discretion in the decision to participate or cease participation in any voluntary, optional, special, or emergency program benefits offered by the federal government to address exceptional unemployment conditions. 4, to confirm gubernatorial appointees as required by Arkansas Code Annotated 10-2-113.
All right, you're listening to the House right now. The House has convened, as you see there, and you can see that they are reading just legality documents at this point. Let's look again live at the Arkansas State Capitol. You can see that it is now 14 minutes past the top of the hour. We are now getting word that the Senate is meeting. The Senate is now meeting in special session. Again, if you're just joining us, this is going to be the stream where we will carry the Senate for you in its special session. The House of Representatives will be available on our website, KARK.com, fox16.com, in the video player below. In the video player below is where you will be able to watch the House of Representatives. Right now you can see the Senate is meeting. Let's go ahead and listen in live to the Senate as special session kicks off. Lawmakers discussing masks in schools and the federal pandemic unemployment assistance. Live coverage continuing all day right here on the device that you're watching. Okay, we're having some slight technical issues. We're going to try and get that audio reestablished here in just a moment. But they are right now reading the documents to get the special session in play. And at this point, we will continue to try and reestablish that connection. In the meantime, let's go ahead and listen in to the House of Representatives, where the House is discussing the pandemic unemployment assistance program and masks in schools.
Madam Clerk, notify the Senate that the House is in session and ready for business. Madam Clerk, notify Governor Hutchinson that the House is in session
boards
and
from
ready for
utilizing
business.
masks.
Members, we do have one guest with us in the gallery today. In the North Gallery, we have Dr. Glenn Fenter, Superintendent of the Marion School District, a guest of Representative Deborah Ferguson. Read the bills, Madam Clerk.
House Bill 1001.
Without objection, read the bill a second time.
House Bill 1001.
Public Health. Read the bill, Madam Clerk.
House Bill 1002.
Without objection, read the bill a second time.
House Bill 1002.
Public Health.
Okay, if you're just joining us, you've been watching the House version. Let's go to the Senate now. We've reestablished that audio. They are now reading some of those documents that have called this special session. As we listen in live here to the Senate, we will continue our live coverage throughout the day.
Protocols to protect children under the age of 12 in a school building, school bus, or other congregate educational setting during times dedicated for academic purposes. 2, to affirm the decision of the Director of Workforce Services to terminate the state of Arkansas's participation in extraordinary federal unemployment benefit programs related to COVID-19. 3, to affirm that the reduction and prevention of unemployment in Arkansas takes precedent over the receipt of any federal fund programs related to unemployment, and that the Director of Workforce Services may exercise discretion in the decision to participate to ease participation in any voluntary, optional, special, or emergency program benefits offered by the federal government to address exceptional unemployment conditions. 4, to confirm gubernatorial appointees as required by Arkansas Code 10-2-113. And 5, to provide for the payment of expenses and per diem of the House of Representatives and the Senate for this extraordinary session. In testimony thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the state of Arkansas to be affixed this 2nd day of August in the year of the Lord 2021, signed Asa Hutchison, Governor.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Senate Bill 1, call item 2 and 3 by Senator Dismaying and Representative Wardlaw, to clarify the law concerning the state's participation in certain federally funded unemployment programs, to terminate the state's participation in certain federal unemployment programs, and to declare an emergency.
We're ready to begin now. While she's walking down, we'll recognize my intern, Tommy Nolan, who's a graduate senior at Catholic High School, who lives here in Little Rock, and Isabella Davis, who's a recent graduate from PD High School. Isabella's going to
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the Public Health Committee will meet today at 1 o'clock in room 171. Thank you.
Anything else? Anyone wish to be recognized? Senate's adjourned till 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
All right, you've been listening to the Senate here for just the last couple of minutes, and you can see that they've already wrapped up, at least for now, and they will be meeting here very soon at 1 o'clock today. They will be meeting, and they will be meeting with their health committee group. That'll be at 1 p.m. But you can now say that Arkansas is in a special session. This is happening now, and the Senate is in recess until 1 p.m. For conversations to take place with the Health and Safety Committee. The Health Group will be meeting at 1 p.m. The Senate will be able to ask questions related to the pandemic, and also try and come to some kind of decision that will be made. But that is it right now. But again, 1022. This was not a very long opening remark. This was very procedural. They were reading basically the paperwork that called the special session. And so now they wait, and the groups, the senators, will meet at 1 p.m. We will continue to carry that live on KARK.com and Fox16.com when it happens at 1 p.m. Also, the House of Representatives meeting as well. That's happening, and they will be available on our website as well, in the video player below, KARK.com and Fox16.com. For now, I'm Mitch McCoy. Our live continuing coverage will continue at 1 p.m. as the Senate will discuss the Health BN Committee, the Health and Safety Group meeting at 1 p.m. That's when we will continue our live coverage. This has been a special report, Arkansas in special session. We'll have a live coverage throughout the day.